together, we'll get through this and we'll grow. The whole purpose of this is just to kind of just talk and have a dialogue. I'm going to try to do this town hall style dialogue every Tuesday at 8 p.m. I'm going to release a video Tuesday at 8 a.m. and then Tuesday at 8 p.m. we're just going to kind of talk about it and figure out how we can all grow together, how as a community we can come together and be better. I'm going to just start by going down comments from the video that were left throughout the day and addressing them one by one. If you want to comment in, feel free. If you want to tell me you hate my guts, feel free, because this is all about just listening to people and just coming together and using communication to work through issues and just be better as a community. And I wholeheartedly believe that the more we communicate, the more we have a dialogue, the more we have a discussion, the better we're going to be as a community. Because there's one thing that leads to growth, and it's listening. It's listening to people. It's listening to the people of Ennis and listening to what they want. In the weeks to come, after these Tuesdays, after these Truth Tuesdays, you're going to get a video Tuesday at 8 a.m., Tuesday at 8 a.m. You're going to get a town hall Tuesday at 8 p.m. And then hopefully by Thursday, we're going to publish a survey. And the survey is just going to have a couple of questions, getting feedback, talking about topics. You know, if there was a hot topic and we just want to kind of put it to the people of Ennis to kind of decide like what they feel on an issue or how they feel on an issue, then we're going to do that, because we're just going to listen to people and try to get better. I'm going to look on my phone and I'm going to read comments, because I'm not really sure how to go back and look at comments, but we're going to figure this out. So let me pull up the comment sections on the video I posted this morning. We're going to start with the first one. This is Diana Glenn. She said, "Do you know how many things were voted on over the last 4 years? I know you mentioned 17 recusals. Just wondering what percentage that is." Diana, that is a great question. And I'm not certain how many issues were voted on in the last 4 years. I would say if you average 2 meetings a month, that's 8. So you're probably looking close to 500 a year, somewhere around there. So 2,000, give or take. That's probably on the high end, could be on the low end. But what I do know, and I can tell you this, is in that 4-year term, out of elected members, city commission and mayor, there were only 2 other times when someone had to recuse themselves from a vote for a conflict of interest. And it was 2 separate people. Out of the 2 mayors we're discussing during that time frame, because there was 2 sitting, there was 10 conflicts of interest that were signed. So I hope that answers your question. I can open a records request and see how many items were voted on over the past 4 years, well, 2015 to 2021. That might be a whole lot of work for our city secretary. So maybe we can try to get an answer to that. I'll note that down. All right, this is from, hopefully I don't butcher the name, it's Cherry Slock, Miss Locke. There are local, state, and federal grants. Applicants must apply for grants, and each program has specific qualifications and eligibility criteria. I'm just not following the circular argument. And she posted examples of grants. And she's absolutely right. There are different grants, and each, to the best of my knowledge, each jurisdiction, federal, local, and state, they all get to choose how they structure their grants and the qualifications you have to go through to receive them. So there's one thing I have realized, and that's when it comes to state and federal grants on the historical restoration type of grants. With those grants, it's 3 to 5 years that you can't sell your property if you receive that grant, or you have to repay all the money. When it comes to our grants, there's no clause in there. And when all of these projects, when I release the documentation and kind of showing what these projects, how much money went to them, there are some instances where properties were sold really quickly. And that's just, I don't agree with it. I'll let you guys, will probably survey that question. Is, do you think economic development grants should have a stipulation in there saying you can't sell property within 5 years or you have to repay that grant? I think that's a good cause to protect the people, but we'll let you guys decide. Diana Glenn had another question. Also, another thought. In regards to having businesses who pay rent versus stores who generate sales tax, I know that this growth is a process and will take time. I do see empty buildings downtown that are not in use. If I was making decisions, I would take what I could to fill the spaces. Rent and filled spaces is better than empty buildings. Please correct me if I'm not understanding this either. Diana, that is kind of a hot topic with me. There's two theories of this, right? Like, your theory is correct. You could say, hey, let's fill these buildings up and put businesses in here, and the appearance of a town that's doing well will be there, right? I kind of weigh on the other side of the issue. You see this in Waxahachie right now. They'll go, and people are wanting to go to their town. They're literally running out of space in buildings to put people in. So if you're pro growth and you're pro bringing businesses in my opinion, it's not a great idea to just put a business in there to fill the space, because psychologically that kind of creates a stigma in the community. Like, you've heard this, oh, anything that goes in there, it just never makes it. So then you just kind of get a mindset of, I'm not even going to go to that place because I know it's not going to make it. And it's not the best thing. The best thing is to get out there and to recruit businesses. And when it comes to economic growth strategy, you're going to see this in the week to come, that I have a very, I have a very ambitious strategy. I think that partnering with others and listening to the community, to listen to actually what they want, and just surveying, hey, what do you guys want here? Putting that out there and letting them decide, and then we'll just go target those businesses. And I'm going to release a strategy that's going to be in the upcoming weeks, and I'm going to go over that topic, because economic growth it's a passion of mine. I love consulting businesses. I love helping people, and there's always a win-win situation for everyone involved. And I really believe that we can use the Economic Development Corporation to bring people that really know what they're doing and are really good in their fields, and bring in businesses that are going to do very well, because it's the type of business that you're wanting. Next question. Thomas Slovak. So Trevor has a law degree and a finance degree. That is pretty impressive. And if I'm not mistaken, he also interprets law. I can see him on the Supreme Court next. Thomas, I promise you I'm not smart enough to be on the Supreme Court. That's for sure. I just listen to people. My brain kind of functions a little bit different. I see things in reverse order. I walk into a place and I see the end result, even if it's not really there, and I'm able to kind of just reverse engineer the entire process to get us to what we need to do to be where the end result wants to be. And it's a gift and a curse, because I'm essentially a fixer. I'm always trying to fix things. Give me 1 second. I'm going to switch. I ran through those comments. Let me go back to the other one. If anyone has any questions, just feel free to ask. Just feel free to comment, and I'll try to get to them. It seems, I think N is something. 4 times 2 times 12 equals 500. Yeah, my math may have been a little bit off. I'm on the spot trying to do math, and sometimes I'm not the best, but I appreciate the criticism. I think it'll help me get better, and that's what this is about. So let me find the post from that was shared that had a few comments on there so I can get to them. Here we go. Well, no. This Buzz page, there are so many people using it. There's a lot of posts on here. And it's good stuff, though, because this gives us the ability to just to listen to people and talk to people and get your finger on the pulse of the city. And I think it's a great thing. Oh, man, if I can find the NS Texas. I'm sorry, guys. I'm doing my best to find where this thing was on here, and I am struggling. Do you think Subway sandwich has real tuna in it? I don't know. Really the only tuna fish I ever eat is my mama Barbara. She has the best tuna fish, and that's just what I go with. Where is this post? I'm sorry, guys. I'm struggling. Hey, Wes. I hope you are doing well. Man. And I'm just trying to find this on the spot. I don't know. I'm not able to find the post. If anyone wants to question in and ask me anything, if you want, I'll just start talking. Is there any questions on the video? Did anyone have any questions about the city charter? Anything about the audit committee? I want to know. I'm so excited to put a survey out that's just going to kind of ask us and let us know, like, what do you think about the audit committee? Do you think it's important? Do you think that it's something that we should be having in place in our city? Or do you think it's something that, no, you know what, let the city just handle it. They're doing a great job, and who cares? We don't need an audit committee. Same thing with the pecuniary interest. I'm really curious to see how many of you care about people in positions of power to make decisions with our money. And if they have a pecuniary interest or they have a conflict of interest, do you think they should be doing that? It's my opinion. This is one of the reasons I diversified and I sold out of my real estate here in Ennis, except for the home that I'm in. Because I don't think if you go into public service and you give up certain rights, right? Like, we all know that when you go into public service, you're going to get bashed. You know, you give up the right to be slandered, basically, right? Like, if there was no slander for politicians, then we wouldn't be watching news 24/7 the way we do. And it's kind of the same thing, in my opinion. If you're going to go into public service in the city you're in, should you have conflicts of interest? If you care about your community and you care about serving them, could you just be like everyone else and just say, you know what? I'm not going to have any conflicts of interest. That's one thing I'm going to have to sacrifice. And I believe that we have too many conflicts of interest in our government already. And it's just going to help us be better, and we can put people in positions to make decisions that are going to benefit everyone when there's no conflict. Why would we even want, this isn't the 1900s where you have 100 people living in a community. We have 20,000 people more. That many people, you can find enough people who aren't going to have conflicts of interest to be involved in your government. I believe that. I could be wrong. You may say, hey, there's no one else that can do it. We need these people because they can do it better than anyone. And I think that we can be better. We can be better. We can have people on our boards serving our city that have no conflicts of interest. because that's just going to give us better results. Lisa Matthews said, don't we have an audit committee now? That's a good question. We have a citywide audit done yearly, and they report that. And I'm fascinated by some of the numbers they report. And we don't have an actual appointed audit committee. January 2019, I went and asked for them to appoint 3 persons to the audit committee. December of 2020, I went and asked for them to appoint 3 persons in the audit committee. They didn't appoint it. I don't know. I'm assuming someone's telling them they don't need one. But it's just something that's checks and balances that the best thing that I can interpret, our city charter, it's a call saying they must do it by the first meeting in January. And I don't know why you wouldn't want to have that there. Why would you not want to have as many checks and balances in your government to hold people accountable as you can possibly have? Right? I mean, I could be wrong. Everyone could think I'm crazy for thinking that, but I've seen it. Government officials, they smile and they're going to talk really good and say great things and say, look how good of a job we're doing. But we still need checks and balances. We need to make sure our officials don't have too much power and are being held accountable. And that's why I'm here today. Oh, Tanya Mitchell. What, if anything, is being planned for recreation opportunities for kids in Ennis? Is something like a roller skating rink a possibility? We need more opportunities for getting our children involved and for families to do more than go to church and bluebonnet festivals. I think families should be going to church. I believe in God. One of the best things I've ever done in my life was start taking my kids to church every single Sunday. Don't get me wrong, I'll miss from time to time, but it is a point in my life to be in church as much as I possibly can. Recreational opportunities? Absolutely. I have a 5 and a 3-year-old daughter. I grew up here my whole life. When I was a kid, when I was a teenager, there wasn't a lot of things to be involved in, so we got into trouble. It happens, right? But we can build youth centers. We have funding. When I outline budget policy, we're going to see there's money. It may not, we may have to pull it from projects that are being funded that aren't giving us the best return, but we can invest in our kids. We can build a rec center, and we can just take our money and invest in our children. That's the best investment we're ever going to make. One of my favorite quotes of all time is, children are a living message we send to a time that we will not see. Think about that. Children are a living message that we send to a time we will not see. It's just the beauty in it. We have to invest in our children. I'm going to roll out policies. I've been talking to different youth sports associations, reaching out to them and asking them, saying, hey, give us a budget of what you need. When we go play soccer in tournaments with my 5-year-old, we go to Frisco and they have beautiful fields, complexes. What do we have to spend to get that here for us? We have almost 600 kids enrolled in our soccer association here. We need to invest in that. You know, that is just, growing up here was always baseball when I was a kid, but that many kids are playing soccer. We need to get them the fields that they need to be able to enjoy it and to attract other families here. That's so crucial economic growth. When you look at parks and you look at recreation, people literally move to cities because they have great schools, great parks, and sports associations. That's a huge draw for families. And we know that families with children are going to spend more money in a city than families that don't necessarily have children, or single people. Single people are going to leave a lot and go to the bigger cities and go out. But families, people with children, they're going to spend their money in it. So that's who we want to try to attract. What else we have? Oh, there's a lot of people just talking trash, which is part of it. It's part of growing, part of getting better, right? When we were in sports in the locker room, we would always sometimes we'd talk trash to each other, but we did it out of love. My dad lives down the street, and there's a lot of days where I'll walk down there, and me and him will have knockdown, drag-out arguments on politics, religion, and all kinds of things. But there's never a time where we leave that house where he doesn't say, I love you. And I don't tell him I love you. As a community, as a family, as a group of people, we can have arguments and we can be ugly to each other, but we just got to love each other. We can get through that. Lisa says our parks are growing now. They are growing. But are they growing better? Are they getting better? Or do we have a rec center? I know there's plans for one. There's supposed to be one built, but we're not hearing anything about it. So we're just going to double down. In politics, sometimes we just think, hey, we need to be polar opposites on both ends of the spectrum, right? Like, this is right, this is wrong. We can agree there's issues, there's things that the city's doing that I totally agree with. And there's things I don't agree with. We don't always have to be right and wrong, opposite of each other's, conflicting. We can agree on issues. We can be in political discussion and say, you know what? They're doing a good job on that. We just need to continue what they're doing. Personally, with the parks, from what I've talked to the people who run sports associations in the city, they're not getting the help they need. And that is an area that is near and dear to my heart. Because I have kids there, I coach a soccer team, and we do need to get them funding. If they're not getting what they need, we need to make sure we're getting it. Because there's nothing more important than the kids, that's for sure. Betty Hansa, I totally believe in what God is doing in our community through your generation. It's good. Thank you. I'm on board. Like I said, I'm a Christian. I believe that God is moving. I believe that prayer, I believe that in the city, people are coming together. People that have been on different sides of issues. Sometimes we just separate things to Republican, Democrat. There's certain issues that we can all agree on. We're in one community. National politics will do such a great job sometimes of just dividing us. But we can have a conversation through mass communication that's held in our community with each other, and we can all come to agreements on certain issues. We can poll our people and say, what do you want? And we can just listen. That's what this is about. This is listening and taking what you say and creating positive action with it. That's it. How are you, Libby Caldwell, how are you going to bring the division together? I think I kind of just touched on it, is we're going to bring people together by surveying our population. We're going to, if there's issues on the agenda, I can promise you this, as your mayor, every agenda, I'm going to survey the community on it. I'm going to put out a Google survey, and I'm going to say, here are the items on the agenda. What do you think? Would you like for this to be approved? Yes? No? And we're going to let the people just kind of decide. It's common sense. We have the ability to mass communicate and to talk to everyone in our community. The days of just electing a politician, electing someone, and hoping that they make the decisions that you want them to make, they're kind of over with. We can track live data. We can track how every single person on the commission, on a board votes. And we can report that data to you. And if you're not happy with the way they're voting, vote against them next election. Like I said, I'm not saying that I'm the answer. I'm saying us coming together in community and holding each other accountable through tough discussions and polling our citizens and getting real raw data and interpreting that well is going to bring people together. Lena, or is it Ina Murillo? What are your plans to promote diversity and inclusivity in the city? Ennis has a 35% Hispanic, yet we hardly provide materials, announcements, or advertising in Spanish. Representation in upper city leadership. Lena, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. That is a great question, and you're absolutely right. Ennis is around 35% Hispanic, and they need more representation. How do we do that? We do it by talking. We do it by creating content that is in Spanish. We reach out to the community and we say, hey, who's a leader here? Who has their finger on the pulse of this community that can be a representation that can help us produce content and reach everyone? Because that's what this is about. This is about reaching people that feel like they haven't been heard, they haven't been reached out to, and just listening and learning. Weston Knight, we need an indoor basketball court. That is right along the lines of, with a rec center, something that we definitely need. We definitely need a rec center. We need an indoor basketball court. We need a place for our kids to go. We need a skate park. We need all that stuff. We're a big city, and cities around us are getting massive developments because they've done magnificent jobs with those things. And we can do those things. We're going to have tough conversations. We're going to have tough votes. We're going to have to get rid of people that have been serving our community for a really long time. That's just a tough fact. I'm going to let you decide what you want with that. What else we got? And it's something, I saw all the social distancing signs all over the town in Spanish and learned the word pies. I don't know. And it's something is on another level, that is for sure. Libby Caldwell. I would like to know the truth behind all the accusations that have been leading up to these viewings. I posted a video today, Libby, and it outlines it pretty clearly for you to make your own interpretation. These accusations are very serious. And it's in my opinion that there has been wrongdoing. The question is, if you really want to know the truth on them, you're going to have to elect someone that's going to make tough decisions to hire and to use the city's resources to dig into them. I'm only able to do so much as a private citizen. I've open records requested as much information as I can, but at the end of the day, I'm one person. I'm not receiving a single political dollar. I don't have teams of attorneys. I don't have video editing teams. It's literally me. A couple of friends will help me every now and then when people reach out and they say, hey, we want to contribute to your campaign. We believe in what you're saying. I simply say, you got to contribute time. Time and just talk to people. I believe wholeheartedly that money in politics is a huge issue in our country. And lobbying and mixing those two, political contributions, I'm against all of it. And that's why when I decided to run, I said, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it the way that I think is best and the way I think that all the politicians should run. I don't think you should be able to accept political contributions. I don't think you should be able to accept lobby money. And I believe that every politician should listen to their community, to their constituents, and to their people, and do what they tell them to do. And that's why I'm here. And I'm not budging on those issues. I'm going to listen to you. I may disagree with what you're asking me to do, but if the masses are asking me to do it, I can be wrong and do it. Despite what I think is right, if you're asking me to do this and there's thousands of people saying it, you got to listen to your people. Where are we at? Jordan Gradberg, what is your favorite color? Blue. Raymond Bailey, what restaurant will you try to bring to Ennis? I'm going to do an entire week over this issue. And I don't want to dig too far into it because I want to have the information, I want it to be accurate before I present. But I can tell you this. I've been consulting bars and restaurants for the past several years. That's kind of what I do. And I know a whole lot of people that own bars and restaurants that have been in the industry for 10, 20, 30 years. And they're some of the best places and some of the best people at doing what they do. I'm personally going to reach out and speak on behalf of the Ennis. And I would love to get with some of the property owners that have vacant properties down there and get us a little strip, 5, 6 restaurants that are ran by some of the people that are really good at what they do and just have a great atmosphere. Because in Ellis County right now, if you think about it, there's not really a city that just has a nightlife where you go. Everyone's traditionally gone to Dallas. There's a couple places in Waxahachie, but they're not combined together. We're talking like a Deep Ellum-esque where you have 5 or 6 bar restaurants right next door to each other. Bang, 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 where you can walk across the street, intermingle. And I believe that's going to be a great way to capture tax dollars. That's going to be a great way when all these people that are living around us, they make a decision. Hey, do I want to Uber 15 minutes to Ennis? They got 5 or 6 great concepts. Or do I want to go all the way to Dallas and go 45 minutes? I think we can compete in that area because if you look around us, there's not really anywhere else in Ellis County where you can do that. And I think that's kind of going to be our niche. Great. It is called environmental printing. This is a key strategy in learning a new language. Oh, she's replying to somebody else, I believe. And it's something, would that be a conflict of your interest if you petition your friends to build an Ennis? That is a great question. It would not be a conflict of interest because it would be in the best interest of the city, and I don't necessarily have a business relationship with those people anymore. When I went off on my own, I left that business relationship, and I'm not doing business with anybody that I would bring to Ennis. Libby, what are you going to do for the families that don't have athletic kids? Something for kids. What a great question. I don't know if I would necessarily personally label kids as non-athletic. That's kind of an open-ended question. But don't get me wrong, I've been talking to 18 to 23-year-old people, and they have been saying loud and clear that they need somewhere to go. They don't necessarily want to drink. They don't want to go to a bar. They want to just hang out in the community. So I have been talking to them. We're going to poll, and we're going to ask them what is it they're looking for. You know, some of them have said, hey, we're looking for like youth-style rec center, and that's a great solution. But we're just going to talk to them and see what it is they're looking for and see if there's enough people that are asking for it, if we can find someone who specializes in that area and get them to come down here. I have something to say. This is from Fidel Village. I grew up in Oak Cliff, South Oak Cliff. If you are aware of how crime is down there, what type of procedures will you try to implement to prevent crime growth? That's the reason why I moved down here. I'm going to do a week on crime, but absolutely. I want anyone who is in criminal activities in Ennis, Texas, to understand something very clearly. Under my leadership, we're going to fund the police, and we're going to give them the resources and training they need to be able to do their job. You're not going to come to Ennis and commit crime and get away with it. We're going to be known as the best police department in the state of Texas. These murders, these killings, it's over with. We're going to stop that because I'm going to have a week over that and we're going to talk about that issue, but I'm pretty passionate on that. Don't play sports. Come on now. Let me, yes, we kind of talked about it, but we're going to poll and we're going to ask, hey, if you're not playing sports, kind of the skate park idea is a great idea. I would consider that a sport. Some people may not. It just depends on what your interpretation of that is. We have the library, that's all. I'm talking about 12 to 15-year-olds. We're going to have to figure that out. That's something I haven't thought about, but we can poll it. We can put out content. We can poll parents and ask them. It's not something I've thought about for 12 to 15-year-old kids that don't play sports. If there's an overwhelming amount of kids, if you have kids that are 12 to 15, Libby, let's talk. It seems like that's something that's important to you, and let's talk about it. There's not a single person that I'm not willing to talk to that has ideas, because this is how we grow, and this is how we get better. Raymond, Bailey, are they going franchises or mom and pops? The majority of the people that I know are going to be mom and pop operations by definition, but they're people that have been doing this for many years and are really, really good at it. That's not to say that we're not going to allow franchises by any means. We just want to bring in restaurants and establishments that really know what they're doing, and we want to create an atmosphere of when you come to Ennis, Texas, you're going to have a great time. Weston Knight, for all I'm 30, getting old, and would love a nice court to play basketball on. That's not bad for my joints, haha. We'll work on it, brother. We're going to work on it. Jeremy Simmons, what role do you believe the mayor should play in a council manager form of government such as ours? I align a lot with Angie's, what she posted on what the mayor should play. The mayor should lead policy and procedure. It's pretty cut and dry. The city manager serves at the pleasure of the mayor and the city commission. It's that simple. Our policy, and we answer to the people, we're going to listen to the people. If the people want us involved, if the people aren't happy with current status quos, then we're going to make sure they're upheld. Because at the end of the day, the city manager serves at the pleasure of the mayor and the city commission. Mary Thomas, this is your favorite question. What are your qualifications to be mayor? That's a discussion that we're all going to have to decide over the next, 6 to 8 weeks. The question you're going to have to ask yourself, are you happy with the way things are going? And if you're happy, then you should vote for Angie Juniman. If you want better options, if you want someone to come out and say, we're going to condemn any acts of violence against our people and we're going to do whatever it takes to make sure this stuff doesn't happen, then you should vote for Trevor Wilhoite. Arcade would be good for 12 to 15-year-olds. I agree. I'll note that. Franchise are probably owned by the mom and pop family. We have a Theater Rocks, a high caliber theater with young actors doing professional level performances right here in Ennis. Susan, you're absolutely right. And I have not been to see what's going on there, but I promise you this, in the next few weeks, if there's an opportunity for me to go, I'm going to be there because I want to see what's going on there. I've heard some great things, and I want to see what's going on. Christy Falkenbach, your kids go to school out of town. Will that change if you become mayor? That's a good question, Christy. Here's my belief, and this is kind of getting personal. I don't like to drag my kids into this. If you'll kind of notice, I'm a pretty private person. You won't really see a lot of things with my children on Facebook. And here is the answer to that. I want my kids to have a Christian education. Partially because I'm divorced. And if I can't be with them on a regular daily basis to teach them the morals and beliefs that I have, then I want them to get an education that's going to do that. Now, if something changes in the future, it's a luxury for me to be able to pay for them to go to that school. And I don't know God's plan for that. And if that changes, if you would have asked me this 2 years ago, I would have said no. They're gonna go to a public school. They're gonna go where I went. I literally live in walking distance to Austin Elementary, where I went to school, and I wanted my children to be able to walk there. So that's kind of a fluid situation. I can tell you this though: if I become mayor, I'm not going to compromise my ethics and my beliefs and the way I want my children to be educated just because I'm mayor. Mary Thomas, I've never asked that question before. I'm sorry for accusing you of that. I thought you did. Maybe I've just been asked that question a lot, so obviously it was an important one to answer. Wait, what? That's a great question. I was unaware of that. That does speak volumes. What are you planning to do about the homeless that almost get themselves killed asking for money? That is, I've noticed that the homeless population has risen a little bit in Ennis. It seems like in the past 4 years. Maybe I didn't notice it before. Maybe that's just me being negative. That could be a possibility. That doesn't sound like an answer. Requalifications. I'm not sure what that's in regards to. Still didn't answer my question. You're really good at that. I thought I answered it. What is your primary focus you will be trying to accomplish if you get elected? Your priority. My number one priority is to fund the police department the way they need to be funded to do their job. My number two priority, oh man, that's a tough one. I may have to restate that. Both my number one priorities are to fund the police department, to give them the resources they need to do their job, and to make sure that there's no person sitting on a board that has a pecuniary interest. That's really important in my opinion. Libby calls, so you bringing a Christian school our way. That is a very ambitious goal, and I would love to accomplish that, and that's not something I can accomplish on my own. I think that is a true sign of God moving in our community when people start asking those questions and asking for that. And that's going to take a lot of work, and that's way above my level of expertise. I do not pretend at all to be an expert in education. And I would love to see that happen because I drive 45 minutes one way to drop her off, and I either am forced to go to Addison to office from there, or I come back home and office from home. And then I drive another 45 minutes. I'm doing almost 3 hours round trip daily to make sure she gets to go where she's going. What's a Christian school the past 4 years? Should shout out to Austin Elementary alums. Yes, definitely. Miss White was the principal when I was there. Could you build a Christian school here in Ennis? That's kind of the same question. That's going to take a lot more than what I'm able to do. I think we should all be praying for that regularly. Guys, it's 8:48. I appreciate everyone that's hopped on. This is going to happen every Tuesday night at 8. Every Tuesday morning at 8 a.m., I'm going to drop a video on a topic, and we're going to discuss it. I kind of went off topic here, which I said I wasn't going to do, but y'all are excited, and y'all had really good questions, and we'll just answer them. This is just us getting better and growing together. Thank y'all so much for participating. Even the people that don't like me and just want to gripe, that's okay, because it makes me better. And if it wasn't for God's grace with me, there's no way I'd be able to respond a lot of the times the way I respond. There's a lot of times where I want to get worked up and upset, and it's really Him moving and working in me that helps me from refraining from that. Y'all have a great night. We'll see y'all soon.